Hello, how are you today? Welcome, I'm Chief Otieno. This is our Village Chronicles series. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the hustle, right? Now, if you are a dad, you are already at the park every weekend. You know, if it's like a weekend sport, you are at the park every night, you're at the practices and something like that. You're at the basketball court, the football field, the track field, all of that, right? On game days, you see all of these parents, right? Trying to take little photos, and it's good. Technology is becoming better with the phones, but when I was growing up, you would see these blurry photos, you know, off their iPhones, the Androids and stuff like that. And that's cool, but you can't get that from 50 yards away, okay? Now, as an engineer, as a trained engineer, you're trained to just find a solution to problems. Every single day I tell my sons, there's 1,000 different ways to get to an answer, right? Not one answer is going to be the way. So, raising a family in America, wanting to be involved, because I also grew up in America and knowing the pitfalls and everything else with an engineer mindset and having that go at it attitude that I always talk to you guys about, I needed to solve a problem. How can I be with my children, help them with the growth, and how could I also use this technical skills and adaptation to anything, right? To make a living. That's when I found a way to turn my children's games into like a $500 Saturday hustle. Today I'm going to show you how and tell you how you could be able to do the same with something like this, a camera, and having the ability to be able to learn something new, okay? We're gonna call it being the most valuable player asset on the sidelines, because that's what you are, and you don't even have to break a sweat. So, remember when I said that I was the odd man out in the 90s, right? I told you about how I just wasn't going with it, you know, whatever my friends was doing and all of that. Right? I used that same energy as an adult, as a grown-up. When I first started showing up to my son's games with a real long camera, all right, with a long lens, you know, some other parents, they looked at me funny. Yeah, I know. But when has being looked at funny ever been an issue for Chief Otieno? Never. If you know me, never. But then, after they saw the shots, oh yeah. But that's the vision. Whenever God gives you a way to solve certain problems, you gotta solve them. And that's what Hustle Man is all about, right? As you are living life, you find ways to sustain your family, you find ways to sustain yourself, and you find ways to just go on this journey, because it's a nice long journey, but it's over with fast. So in certain sections, you gotta figure it out. So I didn't start with something $10,000. The gear was not $10,000, right? I started off with, you know, some people will tell you it's a used DSLR, but I started off with like a Osmo, DJI Osmo Pocket, right? And I just started studying different things. And I also had that spirit of, man, I could do this, right? I noticed that as I would be on the sidelines, and I was the only like really fit young parent, like all the dads at my son's games when he was like 2 years old, 3 years old, there were these overweight fathers and just everybody who just made themselves look like they're old, like they don't want to do nothing, right? So here's where the engineering mindset comes in. Sports photography, right? It's just physics, right? It's shutter speed, it's aperture, and timing. You get what I'm saying? So I treated the football field, the basketball court as my daily labs. And that's what you're gonna have to do when you insert yourself into this side hustle. You're going to look at it like, as long as you're able to grow, it's a lab, right? I learned how to anticipate what was going on in the field of play in order to be able to do this. So if you have some experience playing the sport, that's a plus, right? So this is how you want to make your first money, right? I remember the very first time, right, a parent hit me up, right? And they were like, yo, I see you out there, you're taking shots out there. Did you get a picture of my son's touchdown? Remember I told you about anticipation, right? I told her, I got 3, you know? I pulled up my camera, showed them to her. She was amazed, right? So at first, those shots, I just gave them to her, right? I didn't charge her for that first photo. Gave her a few samples, right? Then I started giving a few samples to some of the most influential parents, you know, some of the kids who are actually doing good. I'm not just out there to shoot my son, right? I'm documenting. I always say to my wife, I'm the family historian. I'm documenting our children's growth as we're growing. But some of the most influential other kids, I'm able to, you know, get them certain photos. By the next week, other parents wanted to come talk to me, and I was able to create a player package for them. Now, I started this around the pandemic. The pandemic came, everybody was getting their Trump dollars, you know. What did you do with your Trump dollars? That's what I'm gonna ask, right? I took my Trump dollars or the stimulus package they were giving. I think it was like, what, $1,200 a month or a week? I don't remember. But basically, I got that money, I went and bought some equipment, and then one of the parents, because everything was shut down, right? Only people who could be on the court, it was basketball at the time. One of my good friends, Mr. Kevin Patton, hit me up. He's like, yo, bro, how much you charging per game? You know, my sons are in high school this year, I'm gonna need to shoot them. Man, when I tell you, I was scared, right? The opportunity came. Here I am, you know, like I'm telling you. As you build the hustle and everything else, there will always come a time when you are kind of like, oh my goodness, am I really doing it right? So I threw out a price to him. I was like, you know what? For you, you got 2 sons, I'll charge you $200 a game, right? He came back, he was like, bet, we'll do that. So I got at it, right? Now, I told myself, okay, I need to learn this, because before I used to have a camera, it was a Canon, right? T3i, and I used to always shoot on auto. I challenged myself this time. When I got this Sony A7 III, I said, I'm going to learn the manual part of it. So during the pandemic, I would research as much as I could. I was researching and researching. I'm learning shutter speed, I'm learning aperture, I'm going to the games and testing it out. Like I said, it's a lab. So I'm going during the layup line, I'm taking as many shots. I'm learning how to do bursts, I'm learning auto tracking, everything. That is something you will always have to have. It's like one of the things I teach my sons who run Our Learning Squad on YouTube. Shout out to them. Go check them out, Our Learning Squad. They teach kids everything. But basically the idea is you're going to be learning your whole life. Once you stop learning, you stop earning, and you ain't doing anything else. So I'm gonna always be learning. I'm gonna be the guy who's learning about the holographic videos that are gonna show up, the hoverboards where my grandkids are showing me. I'm going to always keep learning. So you're gonna have to have that, right? So that was just a great feeling during the pandemic, for the experience, to be able to make some money. And I'm telling you, at this time, I was in shambles. It was tough to get money sometimes and everything else. So my brother inadvertently didn't know, but he helped me stay afloat. You understand? So those $200 games and stuff like that, I treated them like everything. I'm learning as much as I can. So once I mastered the photo, I moved on to the videography. I started making highlight reels of young Kevin Patton and his brother Kalai Patton, right? Because they were just entering basketball. And little did I know that those times we spent, their whole freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, would lead them to just having an amazing college opportunity. Young Kevin went to the University of San Diego, then he ended up getting to USC. Him and Kalai got to play basketball at USC, and then recently they've been at University of New Mexico. So when you learn this thing and you do it, there's some real world applications to it. Like lives really can change by you understanding this hustle, okay? So when you're making a highlight reel, you want 60 seconds, high energy. You want to put like the best plays at the beginning and then just weave and tell a story. You understand? So this is where the multi-hustles comes in. Because at the time, my vision was, I have hustlemantransfers.com where I sell the DTF transfers, right? I didn't just sell these parents' photos, right? I sold them custom t-shirts, which were fan-based t-shirts that they would wear in the stands. So Kevin and Kalai, I basically, in a sense, created like a mini NIL deal for them, because at every single game they were going to, their mom had on a t-shirt of Kevin Duncan, their dad had on a t-shirt of Kalai. Every single game I would take my photo. So if you're a photographer and you learn this hustle, I want you to go to hustlemantransfers.com, use the promo code NEWHUSTLE, you'll get 30% off of your DTF transfers, and you can add to your hustle, right? You're taking these photos, these parents, they want these stuff, so use DTF transfers. Hustleman Transfers allows you to be able to do that, right? That's how we stack the village. One customer, 3 different products. Here I told you about the photography, bam, you're taking the photos. Then we got the videography. That's another side hustle that you are adding to the thing. That's where they are getting highlight reels. They post it on Instagram, TikTok. They're getting a lot of views. That's the second hustle. The third part to it, you turn your photos using Hustleman Transfers and turn them into DTF. I'm telling you, this is, stay with me. This Africa got a few, I got a few game for you. So you just gotta let the game marinate. That's the thing about it, right? So let's take it to the Bible real quick, all right? By the way, I love that Drewski skit. When I was little, I used to make my own skits and my parents used to laugh. I used to be like, this is how it feels like in a Baptist church, ah, ah, and they used to die. But like I said, I'm not no preacher or nothing, but I have read the Bible a few times. So the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. That's in Ecclesiastes 9:10. So if I'm going to be at my son's game, let me bring it in. If I'm gonna be at my son's game, the thingy of the hustle man, in order to be here to experience this part of life, I'm going to find a way that my hands do something. I'm gonna do it with all my might. So a lot of parents, a lot of people have probably seen me on the sidelines for the past few years, right? I was doing it with my might. I was studying as best as I could. I would make the t-shirts. I would do all of that. So I'm going to be the best that I can be while I'm there. It doesn't matter if you're 15 and you're picking this hustle hub, or if you're 55. You understand? So what I say, the instructions for my boys. My sons, they see me working. They see me talking to the people. They see me negotiating packages, and they see me capturing history, right? I'm teaching them that their talents aren't just there for them, right? When you build a talent, your talent is for the community at whole. You understand? So when I'm out here, I've been able to take some photos for some of the villagers out here, some of the shots here. My talents aren't just for me. Because I taught myself this skill, this talent allows me to help uplift the community, right? It's a gift I have that I'm able to give, right? And also make some money in sometimes. So I tell my children this, and some of you young people watching, in life, don't just be a spectator in your life, right? Be a producer, right? Let the ways of the hustle assist you in what you need to do. Now, you don't need to be a pro to get started, right? You just need to start in order to become a pro. That's the hustle man way. You do not have to be a professional, you just have to start in order to become a pro. So, if you are a dadographer, a momographer, right? Or you want to be, I want you to leave a comment. Capture the legacy below, right? If you want to see the custom sports shirts that I made for my boys, I want you to go to my Instagram, scroll down, go to omghustleman.com, or go to @youthfangear, right? That's my Instagram handle. That's where you can see a few of the t-shirts I've made. If you want to have a technical breakdown and how I found my life with some of these different side hustles, I want you to comment, show me the way of the hustle man, right? In future videos as we go, I will start breaking down basically how to use this thing. But today it was an intro, you know, I want to give you a small taste, a little appetite, a little teaser to get you going, because like the Bible said again, the person who had 5 talents, he went and worked them. God came back and he doubled them and he gave them plenty. So I'm no longer hiding my talents in 2026. We're gonna speak about everything that encompasses the hustle man way, all right? So subscribe to this Instagram, YouTube channel. Go subscribe to my Instagram. Go check out comingfromamerica.com. It's where I have a vlog about our travels here in Africa for the year. But tomorrow, we'll talk about how being a club promoter made me become a better engineer. So thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.